Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Kris. I'm a programmer for A43, and thank you for joining us for our Q&A with the team from Takeout Girl. And first of all, I just want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Yao King. And I just want to welcome you guys. Thank you so much. I love the film, and I'm excited to chat with you guys about it. Why don't we go around and you guys can introduce yourselves and let everybody know what your role was on the film.
Okay. Hi, my name is Hedy. I'm the lead actress, co-writer, and producer.
I'm Melissa Del Rosario. I'm the producer and script supervisor.
I'm Alberto Triana. I'm the cinematographer and producer.
I'm Hissoni Mustafa. I am co-writer, director, producer, and a bunch of other stuff.
It's great. I would love to know, Hedy and Hissoni, since you guys were the writers, where did this idea come from? What was sort of the genesis of the project? And for Alberto and MJ, how did you guys get involved, and what was what drew you to the project?
Hedy.
So, I started writing this script when I just got to a point in my life where I was just reflecting a lot, and just it was just an outlet for me. So I had the original version, and then Lauren, who plays Saren in the movie, introduced me to Hissoni. And then all the magic really started to brew. Go ahead, Hissoni.
She really shorthanded that. I thought I had a little bit more time.
No, it's you now. Go ahead.
Well, Hedy actually spent a couple years developing this before Lauren Lee, who plays Saren, the brother in Takeout Girl, connected her with me. And I believe he connected her with me because I'm one of those guys, one of those filmmakers that can make very little look like a lot. And when I met Hedy, the premise of the film was really wonderful right off the bat. She had the core of the story. She had a first draft, but it was her personality that made me go, I want to make this film, because I had never met anyone like her before. And I've been all over. I've been in New York, been in Minnesota, Wisconsin, all over the country, all over the world. Never met a person like her. So right off the bat, I knew if I just introduced her personality to the world, it would be engaging. People would be like, well, I got to figure out what to make of this person. It would hold people's attention for at least 90 minutes. And then as I got into developing the project, I ran into this dude right here. So I'm passing it off.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I wish it was like a really super crazy story, but it was literally like on social media. We've been kind of following each other for a little bit, and he hits me up like, hey, I'm new to Vegas. Let's get coffee. Let's talk, let's talk shop. Let's talk projects. And literally we just met up and talked about goals and what we're trying to do with our careers. And we just started working from there. Like we started shooting short projects together, and he told me about Takeout Girl. And I was excited. And it just, the moment I remember him telling me about the film, and he's saying, you have to talk to Hedy. And the moment I got on the call with Hedy, I was like, oh my God, yes, this is going to be awesome. And
she turned into Tara. When she meets people, she's like, yo, what's up? How you doing?
I'm on the phone. I was like, oh, shit, did I call the wrong number? But it was awesome. And like, I just like instantly knew, I was like, this is going to work. Like, this is going to be a good time. And so we were doing that. And then we met this lovely lady.
Yeah.
Well, so I used to, pre-COVID, I used to host a screening every month of local filmmakers, local showcase. And I met these guys because they submitted a short film, and it was really cool. Screened it, had a good time. And then, I don't know, fast forward,
Why are we fast forwarding so much?
Because I don't,
Like what?
I feel like it's a
We got
lot
30
of little,
minutes. We
little
gotta keep
pieces.
going.
It's me.
So MJ is in her early 20s, still a film student, and she runs this screening thing. So when we screened at her event, which is promoting minority filmmakers and female-driven films, I was blown away again. Very similar to when I met Hedy. And see, she left all that out because she's like being modest. We can't be modest. They want to know this. And then after spending time just going to the screening, because we screened a bunch of stuff there, we started coming regularly. She got into Cannes with a short film, and I was like, wow. I think I want this young lady to produce my film. And then
so I'm on the beach at Cannes Film Festival, and I'm just like, man, everybody's been asking me, what am I gonna do next? What am I gonna do next? I brought a short. They want to know if it's gonna be a feature. I have no idea. And they sent me the script, and they're like, "Hey, MJ, like when you have some time, if you want to read this, we thought of you to produce it." I'm reading the script, and I'm like, "This is what I want to do next. This is perfect. This is everything that I want to do. It promotes women, promotes Asian Americans, and it's that representation I want to see on screen." So I was like, "Yeah." We got
And
back.
fast forward, fast forward. Now we're here with you, Chris. That's when we
Betty.
make fast forward.
And wow, you know, I actually had questions prepared, but I actually want to do something spontaneous. I want to springboard off of something that you said, Hissoni, that I really liked. You said that you're talented at making a little look like a lot. That's what you just said, and I'm very interested in this aspect of filmmaking. I think it's really, really cool how, you know, especially with a low budget, people can pull that off. It's always super impressive. I'd love for you to share with me an example or a couple of examples of how you were able to do that on the set of Takeout Girl.
That's a dope question. And to be honest, I have to take you way back
Oh no.
to the 80s.
Oh no.
I grew up poor in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Milwaukee is the most segregated city in the country. It's voted the worst city in America to grow up black several years in a row. More black men are arrested per capita in Milwaukee than in 53206, which is a very rough zip code in Wisconsin, than any other place in the country. And I grew up there without a dad, single mom. I have 4 sisters. So my mom had to take what would normally be one sandwich and feed many kids with it, or what would normally be one, you know, serving of macaroni and cheese and serve many kids with it. So the beginning of stretching things out is essentially coming from my mother. I mean, you should see the costumes my mom made with cardboard and a little bit of paint. So if she could do that, I can make movies. And I think she passed that along to me just through that. And it also made me relate to the film a lot more too, because the family themselves, they're going through what I went through. I love that today, and kudos to the Asian American International Film Festival for selecting us, because this film shows that a blended family here can really tell a cohesive story. Like, there's a lot of my mom in Wavy, the mother in the film, and there's a ton of Hedy's mom, probably some of MJ's, and that stretching a dime to make a dollar was true both in the story, the fictional story, and behind the camera as well. So yeah, we stretched a dollar. This guy helped me stretch plenty of dollars just by shooting the film in a way where we could hide that the locations weren't exactly where we wanted them to be. Hedy stayed on her toes with performance, so that if there was something we wrote the script, obviously, but a script for no budget filmmakers is kind of a wish list. So if we needed to change a location last minute, Hedy, MJ, Bert, every actor in the film was always heads up, and they would figure out ways to tweak the lines so that this location worked and this scenario worked. We essentially saw any problem that could sink the film as the universe enforcing a rewrite. And we looked at it as, if this wasn't supposed to happen, something better was, which is essentially taking it back to the 80s, my life, probably Hedy's life, probably a little bit of theirs. It's the only way you make it through being poor in America, probably being poor anywhere, is to try and turn that frown upside down. Sorry, that was a long answer, but hopefully it was a good one.
No, it certainly was. It's the best part about independent film for me. And also another thing that I appreciate about independent film is I think it's a way that, or in other words, it has a way of capturing a city maybe in a way that the mainstream can't. And LA is literally the home of mainstream cinema. So for it to be portrayed in this sort of different way in an independent film is super interesting. How do you feel, what does it mean for an audience, for an LA audience or any American audience, Hedy, to see the film in this way that's different from like the literal Hollywood in Hollywood?
I think this film is just the everyday life, because my family, they actually, obviously it's based on my life a little bit. So they had a Chinese restaurant. Aside from just the Hollywood take of Hollywood take of LA and Asian Americans, this film is really an alternative to what was created by Crazy Rich Asians. You know, like I do background work, and ever since that movie came out, hey, I like that movie. I'm all for Asian, you know, empowerment, success. But ever since that came out, you know, low key, I kept getting booked as Crazy Rich Asian type. And coming from as a kid from the 90s, you know, I go like, yo, when did we become crazy rich again? Because all the people I came from, all the people that I knew growing up were of immigrant or refugee status. So of course, you know, Asia has changed a lot in the 10 years, you know, in the past recent 10, 15 years. But I think this movie is really important for LA, but also more so for Asian American representation, and just to show there's another side to things, you know, besides just crazy rich.
Mm-hmm. You guys have anything to add to that?
I mean, I think one of the things that
free.
stood out to me for the film is it's very universal in the sense that like the story of the protagonist, and I guess you could call him the antagonist, but it's very centered around family, and that's something that I think a lot of people will understand. Like, what would you be willing to do to help your family? And also the idea of the poverty. It's like these are very universal themes that it doesn't matter what race you are, what gender you are. If you have understood what it's like to be hungry or to not be able to afford something, you will understand the struggles of these characters. And it's something that, I don't know, I think really drove the film, and I connected with it personally. And on the flip side of it, like the crew side of things, that same theme of family was really important. I don't know if you guys can get that with just the way we are here, but that's something that I'm extremely proud of.
And to piggyback his point, the idea of setting it in the poor part of LA, the part that tourists don't go to, the hood basically, is to show a couple things. Number one, Asians live in the hood too. And they're thriving. They're thriving in an area that is not hospitable to anyone. The images that we put in this film of LA is the places you don't want to be, the places you'd feel unsafe going. And hopefully what we communicated in this film is the people who live there don't want to be there either. Like, they're scared, they're hungry, they're tired, and they can't get out. The feeling of being trapped by that sort of environment, I understand it very personally. I believe Hedy does, and I know millions of others do. So that universal sort of feeling, it's hard not to root for our protagonist when you know where she comes from, and you understand that some people aren't meant to necessarily live that way.
I would like to add one more thing is the elements of the story comes from a lot of people's real life. You know, Tara and Saren's, they came from Pueblos, and actually the actor Lauren grew up there on the east side of LA. It's like this, you know, it's the projects of the east side called the Pueblos. So, you know, there's a lot of real elements in the script that's just not made up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's awesome. And even with your low budget, and you know, you just mentioned before that you couldn't get some of the real locations maybe that you wanted. I mean, I'm from New York. I've only ever been a tourist in LA, so I wouldn't have known. It seemed very real to me, and I, you know, it definitely made me think about the city in a way that I hadn't before. But thinking of the technical aspects of the film, you know, I just in advance of this Q&A, I rewatched it just a couple hours ago, and I remember how I felt when it began, and you have that opening shot, which is really, really great. I was curious if you could talk a little bit, Alberto, about that opening shot, but then also just in general, you have some great kind of long takes in there. And what were some of the challenges with doing those?
Well, for the opening shot, that was something that we talked about like a long time going into it. Like, once the script was done, it was something that we were already like, we went in knowing like, we want this to be a wonder. We want to get as far into this as possible in this one shot. And we also knew that we wanted to kind of have a little bit of mystere with our main character. We wanted to not, you know, just show her right off the bat. We wanted to pull you in. If we can get the audience to kind of like want to lean in a little more. Who is this girl? We always see as her hustle, you know, so you get to know her without seeing her. And I think that's a really strong choice. One of the challenges with that was finding the right location to shoot something like that in. which MJ helped put that together.
We were able to shoot it at my university. We shot it at UNLV, so the University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
Yeah, so we shot that there, and then we just had a long wonder, like had a gimbal set up, running around, queuing actors all over the place, crew that were doubling as actors in the shot, like just like people cycling in and out. We're like, okay, go.
You could see me.
Yeah, she's in it.
Our crew would do things behind the camera
and then
walk into
shot.
the shot and become like everybody was.
Yeah,
almost everybody you saw. I'd say the majority of the people in that opening shot are crew.
Yeah, like you'll just see them repurposed, and which was a lot of fun. And that's something that I'm glad you pointed that out, because we do it a few times throughout the film. It's just one of those things that, for the pacing and the story, it just feels right, like the way we wanted to tell it. And there's for us too, there's a certain level of, like, when we like to challenge ourselves as filmmakers. So there are certain things that, yes, it's appropriate for the story, it's appropriate for the characters, but there's also, like, we get very competitive with each other sometimes. He's like, you can't make that shot. I'm like, watch me, I can make this shot. And one of the best things about working with him is, we tag out a lot on certain things. Like, there's certain shots that I couldn't quite get, and he's just way more nimble than I am. So there's some tracking shots where dude's on a hoverboard with the gimbal set up, and he's rolling down on a hoverboard.
Yeah, a hoverboard, like those things that were really popular.
Yeah, wheels that falls around, and he's rolling.
I forgot that existed.
Yeah, he's asking me, like, you want to get this shot? I'm like, no. I was like, no, you got this.
I just remember that day. That was so funny.
I fall sometimes.
He fell. But he saved the camera.
Yeah. Which, like I ran over, and he's like, oh, he's gonna see if I'm okay. I'm like, how's the camera? I grabbed the camera for him and just walk away.
Man,
we steal. I think I steal a lot in this film, because to me, like when we wrote the film, me and Hedy, we knew that there was Tara, and then there was Takeout Girl, and like when the hat is really low and, like, you know what I mean, she's in the zone, that's Takeout Girl. Mm-hmm. When it's off, or if she's with family, that's Tara. And the opening scene is a lot like establishing her superhero persona. Like, remember the opening of Raiders, where, like, you can't see Indiana Jones until, like, he's gotten rid of the bad guys, and then he steps into the light, and you're like, this is the coolest dude ever. That's what I was trying to do. We did a lot of Spielberg. Yeah. Anytime you see the sun hanging real low and she walks past it, that's us just trying to bite Spielberg style.
That's an 80s movie I have seen.
Yeah, but we were lucky too, because Hedy could handle really long takes. Like, some of the long takes are really emotionally charged, and she could just do it over and over again. And we were lucky. We had actors that were better than us, quite frankly, and we didn't quite deserve them. So,
that's really nice. I was actually I wrote down a question to ask, which was, what was it like? Like, just how did you guys all work together? But I feel like I don't need to ask that. I would love to ask also about the music, because I think it's very. You chose it very deliberately, I believe. If you could talk about that. Not sure who is the expert, maybe you all are on the soundtrack, but curious about that.
Hedy, you want to go in first?
Well, because I've been in LA for like almost 10 years, I'm very influenced by the sound, the local sound that's around me. Not what's mainstream, but like the local artists. So I would submit a lot of West Coast music to Hissoni, one of them being Stupid Young. And then, but I understand Hissoni's decision to not purely make the soundtrack super West Coast, because it should be more than just West Coast, So that's when I pass the question or the thing to you, Hissoni. Go ahead.
The soundtrack was a lot of fun, and the coolest part about the soundtrack was it was a place during this film where I realized I grew. And I had a gut check moment, because being Black, hip hop music, like, I could get it. I can get it from my cousins. I can get it from my aunts, but the thing is, it hit me really late in the process that this is an opportunity to give Asian American hip hop artists a platform, not just hip hop artists, pop artists. So Hedy, I, MJ, Alberto, we kind of fanned out and sought to find the best Asian American musicians we could for this film. And Hedy knew about MC Jen, and she approached him, and she got the song "Eat, Sleep, and Die" for a critical scene in the film. She approached Stupid Young on her own, did her producer duties like a beast, and got Stupid Young to commit not just one but 2 songs, including Mando, his hit, which has like over 40 million views on YouTube right now. And then the 3 of us, we just checked off on one another. Whenever we found a good song that we thought would be great for it, that was made by an Asian American artist, everybody kind of agreed, listened to it, probably still listen to it a lot now.
And shout out to Jack the Misfit.
Yep.
I love him.
Jack the Misfit is a New York-based artist that no one knows of, but I guarantee you're going to know him soon. The drug montage sequence is his song.
It hits so hard. I love that song.
And he was the sweetest guy too. Like he was humbled that we came to him. Believe it or not, everybody was kind of that way. Like Stupid Young actually has a cameo in the film. Beautiful to work with, killed his scene.
That was fun.
Super
First
humble.
time acting.
Yep, first time.
Fantastic.
And most people won't notice him because we had to do the tattoo removal. But it was a gut check moment because it showed that even I have a bias. I have a bias that probably could have hurt the film and not served the community I was making the film about primarily. And it was a slip up that I held myself accountable for and rectified right away. So again, the great thing about me making films is I learned how to check myself. I learned how to be authentic, not just with the writing, not just with the shooting, not just with the stuff that's fun, but with the stuff that's not fun, like calling yourself on your biases.
I also want to say, little known fact, a lot of people don't know this. Hedy Wong is very talented. One of her
She has a
songs
song in the film.
you gotta look for it. She's too humble to talk about it, but her song is in the movie. You gotta go back and watch and listen.
It's
and
great,
she does
too.
a lot of music.
Yep.
So.
You get her?
Oh man, you gotta tell us which one so we can all check it out.
Hedy?
I didn't even know. Whatever it is, I got a new one. Let's just replace it with the better one. No, don't use the old stuff. Let's use the old one, the new one.
I definitely want to check out if there are some audience questions. Just taking a look. Oh man, I can't believe I didn't think about this. Let's talk about the ending of this movie. It was very intense.
Wait, are we allowed to
And
talk about that with spoilers?
I think so.
well, what do you? Well, I mean, I'm hoping people have watched the movie. Otherwise, maybe they won't even know anything that you guys are talking about. I mean, I'm definitely interested in that. I mean, I was very surprised the way that you guys set that up. I mean, definitely not the way that I would have thought that it would go. I'm sure a lot of people felt the same way. Yeah, I guess I would love to get all of you guys' feelings about it.
Hedy, you want to start us off?
Oh shoot, I don't know how to say without. I'm gonna try not to talk about the spoilers, but for those who watched it, I feel like it was right. And in the original draft I actually had a very, it was a very similar ending. But when I met Hissoni and we started to, revise the script, he took it up to another notch. That I was so excited. I was so inspired by the level that he was taking it up to because it felt so right emotionally. And a lot of people don't want to talk about it because they feel like, let positivity win or whatever. And sometimes, things get nitty gritty and especially when somebody's young and stuff, I don't want to say too much, but it's just the nature of the people you're with, it's going to go down a certain way. So what the change for the ending that Hissoni suggested, it was very similar to what I had, but he took it to another notch and it just felt so like poetically right for our street Shakespearean hood movie.
Very thematic, yeah.
Definitely want to say when we were doing the edit, I kept asking Hissoni, so this is it. This is the ending. You don't want to change it? Are you sure? And he stuck to his guns. We had other footage, but he stuck.
It just, to me, like, I remember we would talk about it, and he's like, are people going to get upset with this ending? And I'm like, maybe, but, like, that's the realest thing ever. Like that's, to me, like it's life. Like you don't always get to choose the way things end. You know, it's not always going to go the way you think. So to me, that's what I love most about the ending.
What stands out to me when thinking about the ending of the film is thinking about when I had the idea to take it where I wanted to, and I ran it by Hedy, and how it wasn't a conversation. It was just enthusiastically like, do that. Like she was like, yes, do that. It was so definitive. She didn't even want to, we normally gave it like 24 hours or 48 hours to just think over big things, but she was like, no, this is exactly the way it has to happen. The end is a major commentary on the compulsive nature of young people. I mean, impulsive nature of young people, on the nature of those areas. Like people talk about Chicago, but harsh and very rash decisions are very common in desperate areas. And I know that because I'm from desperate areas. The first time I saw a person die, I was 7 years old. And they were right there. And it was a beautiful woman who did it. So that taught me right from a young age that like violence knows no limits, no bounds. It's not restricted to any specific type. And it's abrupt. You never get to say goodbye. You never get to plan it. You're lucky if you leave this earth laying in a bed comfortable saying goodbye to your family. That's the best way to go out. But where I come from, the sort of world Hedy has seen, the sort of world they may have seen, it's just not like that. Any day could be your last. Any moment can be your last. And we make a commentary on that.
Mm-hmm. And it's
Absolutely.
for me.
I was
I was
serious.
saying,
I was so serious on that one.
Oh,
Sorry. Yeah.
No, it's a serious thing. I mean, it's a great. I thought it was actually almost evokes the most classic LA film of all, Chinatown, in a way, which I thought was great to kind of continue that legacy. I don't know if you had that in mind, but that was sort of what it inspired.
She just felt right. Yes, that's exactly what we were doing. Yes.
Sure.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I want to have. I think we have time for one more from the audience. This is for everybody. Just what was your favorite moment, each of you, on the set of Takeout Girl?
Like working or watching the movie ourselves.
Favorite moment, just working on it and during the while on set. What was your favorite moment?
The favorite moments for me was when I try really hard to, be in the moment and I don't know if I'm doing it right or whatever, but I'm just doing what I think I'm supposed to do and what I feel in the moment. And for me to hear circle star and that means Hissoni or somebody's circling like this is the good take that we're going to use this take and we're going to star it because that's our favorite takes out of the favorite ones. So when I hear circle star, I get really excited, like I did something right. So those are my favorite moments.
Circle star that response.
Sorry.
I got it.
All right. Anybody?
Berto?
Well, it's not a specific moment, but my favorite thing about being on set on this film was just how much fun we had. Like the constant like dancing and like messing around. Like as stressful as things got, we always found a way to have fun and keep the mood light. And just some of my favorite moments were seeing Hissoni and Hedy just like when they watch playback or they see a take and it's working, it's going, and just to see their excitement. Like the biggest standout and rewarding moment for me in this entire process was when we showed Hedy the rough cut of the film. Her reaction made everything just worthwhile, and like all the nights of editing and color grading and just the running around, everything we had to do to get this done, it's worth it when you see that. So
I think for me, I love that. I agree with Berto.
Follow that.
It's definitely the moments, not like per se on set, but we became like a family. So we go by Film Fam. These are my bros. That's my sister over there. And we would like after the shoot, we would go watch a movie.
Yeah.
This is our inspo movie to inspire the takes for tomorrow. This is our like we're gonna go grab dinner together. We're gonna go hang out, and like we still do that. Like even after the edit, even during the film festival circuit. Like I love that we have that sense of community that was built on set. but continued throughout. So that's my favorite part, having these friends and family for life, you know?
My favorite moments, my top moment was I was on the red carpet at our world premiere at CineQuest, and I always take this little camera with me to snap little photos, and I was snapping away, and it wasn't until later on that night when I was editing the photos that I saw a look on Hedy's face I had never seen before. It was this giddy, like childlike smile, and it made me feel like I had done the job I set out to do, and I was done. A young lady came to me with an idea that was her baby, and now she was on the red carpet laughing. Like, that was like, it clicked together. Same thing happened with this young lady when she told me how much her grandparents loved the film and hearing voicemails from them. Yeah. Same thing when his dad cried. I was like, that's when you know you're done. When the people who trusted you with their kids are applauding the film.
That's so great, you guys. We're out of time, but I want to thank you so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun, and like I said, I love the film. Takeout Girl is really just a tremendous achievement, and wow, you guys should be very, very proud of the work you've done. And I look forward to what you do next for sure. I'm going to be checking it out.